All right, welcome everyone back. They thought they got rid of us, but we are back. Recognize these same faces. I have three big U.S. soccer fans. That's Rahi, Roy, and myself. And I think everyone needed a nice break after the World Cup, but plenty of international soccer that's happening. And the focus of this particular segment will be on all things American soccer. So let's just start off. We'll kind of cover the biggest topics that happened every week. And we will go from there with these two colorful characters who, like I said, are huge U.S. soccer fans. How's everyone doing?
Doing well.
Nice.
Doing well.
Yeah, doing great.
So let's kick it off. For the first topic of the week, the U.S. still doesn't have a coach. Are they any closer this week to getting a coach? What's the story with that?
Well, the story is one potential coach is now available, and that's Jesse Marsch, who was at Leeds, had an interesting spell. He kept them up, and then he got fired last week, which means there's a new name added to the list. Not my favorite name personally, but he's there. But they don't seem like they're much closer. What are your thoughts on Jesse Marsch, Roy?
Jesse Marsch, I loved him when he was with the New York Red Bulls because it was such a refreshing, super high octane style of play that you don't get to see too often. And he did it with a cheap roster, which was also very exciting. But I think since then, he had some good moments in Austria for sure. But Leipzig, let's be real, total disaster. Leeds, he kept him up with his very Ted Lasso personality, and it was fun to watch the Americanisms in the EPL, and it was cute and it was fun. But he's a one-track mind kind of guy. He has one play style, and that's just not good. It's not good. It failed at Leeds. It failed at Leipzig. And do we want to pick a guy who's coming off of a couple big failures? I don't like the idea of it.
If you haven't seen him, he is the embodiment of Ted Lasso as a manager.
The most Ted Lasso,
positive manager. He's cool. He's a nice guy, Jesse Marsch, but it just seems like he's not sophisticated enough for this team. That's my opinion. We need someone big, and we need someone to take this team to the next level. I'm not sure that's him.
Yeah, one of the things, I think, Roy, you saw both of the friendly. You were at one of the friendlies. I was at the other friendly that recently happened, and I think some of the same things that plagued the national team, the full national team, during the World Cup, I saw in that game, in both the games, like just poor defensive mistakes. They just don't seem like fully tight and disciplined in all areas of the game, and that's what my concern is with a coach like Jesse Marsch. I don't know if that problem gets solved versus some of the more, I guess, disciplinarian, I guess is the word I'm going after, or tactician type of European managers.
Yeah. Jesse Marsch, as you saw with Leeds and you saw it with Leipzig too, his defenses don't play very well. So you got a great point there. And we're not strong defensively. In the U.S. In those two friendlies, we saw a very, very porous defense in both games. And these are guys that we have, like Tim Ream's a killer, but Tim Ream's not going to be around for another couple of years. So we got to figure out how to play these younger guys who are a little bit more frantic, a little bit more prone to mistake, but they're exciting. They're exciting, but we need a guy who knows how to control a defense, who knows how to set them up, who knows how to teach them discipline and how to control a game in that manner. Where the defensive ability isn't really there. Dest isn't a defender. Like he's exciting when the ball's at his feet, but someone's running at him. It scares the hell out of me. And it's kind of similar Anthony Robinson, not as bad. Then Chris Richards, he's a little better. He could drop back quickly, but we need a guy who's smart. We need a guy who's smarter than all these players, who could teach them something, not someone that will grow with them, but who has already grown and will help the players catch up to the level of the coach. That's what I think.
The other big problem is he doesn't play with much width, and our strength is in our wide positions, and I think that's tactically a mistake. And I think what you're getting at,
sure,
Roy, is they need someone to teach them. They need someone to elevate their game. Let's be honest, we have good young players, but no one is yet a great player. And they're going to get that from their clubs if they go to bigger clubs. But you hope they get some of that from the national team manager. And there's my fear with hiring an American coach. And let's be honest, Jesse Marsh is the most qualified American coach now, 100%. But my fear is the ceiling is still too low, in my opinion.
Yeah, anyone excited that Jordan Pivak scored a goal the other day?
No.
So talk to me about this Balogun. What's the story with this guy? Is he going to come to the US or no?
I think he's expecting to get a call up from England. And the fact that he's probably the best forward in League One right now, League One, I think he's going to get the call up sooner than later. I don't think England's going to ignore him. I know they have a history of ignoring players outside of England, but Bellingham's in Germany for a smaller team, Dortmund. I think the fact that he's just killing it in France, there's no way. There's no way they just continue to ignore him. I don't know.
But it's less about a call-up and more about a future with the team. Does he have a future with England? How long is Harry Kane going to be there? At least another 4 years. And they've got a ton of guys waiting in the wings. I mean, if he's going to struggle to get on the field, he's not young, right? He's young enough, yes, to make an impact, but he's not 16, 17 years old. He's going to have a tough time getting into important games for England. And I don't know that he's going to get called up anytime soon. So that's the challenge. And he's going to have to make a decision. For the next 5 years, you're going to definitely sit behind Harry Kane. Then beyond that, are you going to get on the roster? So that's the challenge for him, and that's what he's going to have to think about. Nigeria is another option for him as well. He could play for Nigeria. So the U.S. is maybe third on his list, but the U.S. but it's where he has a direct pathway to starting. If he goes to play for the U.S., he's the starting forward day one.
I'm going to finish with this. Today is the Super Bowl, and so what I wanted to talk about was this. There's always been this theory that if the top American athletes played soccer, we would be the best in the world and so on and so forth. And I always thought that was a bunch of hogwash until I watched this World Cup and I saw Kylian Mbappe and I'm like, wait a second. So with that being said, I want both of your thoughts on that concept now and what you think. Because these athletes, these wide receivers are like some of the best athletes in the entire world, like frankly, right?
I thought about this a lot. And initially I was like, being a soccer player, I thought this is a bit irresponsible. It's kind of silly. It's a completely different sport. If Patrick Mahomes played soccer from the time he was 6 years old, he would be very, very, very good right now. He would be one of the best players. Well, definitely the best player in the U.S., that's for sure. And which makes him in the conversation of being one of the better players in the world. Certainly. I think there is – so it's less about the fact that – because Patrick Mahomes is not big or strong as, for example, take LeBron James. He's just a guy who has a sports brain, can do crazy things with his body, and has this knack for showing up in big moments. That's transferable to soccer. I think it is. And so it's more about, can the attention be paid to the sport by – really top level athletes and really professional people?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just don't like the conversation of if LeBron played soccer, I don't agree with any of this. I think it always goes back to, if we could get a player like all the ones you're mentioning to get interested in soccer at an early age, and we have a culture that adopts and pushes that player to continue in this sport, then we're going to have more players to choose from at the end of the day.
And that's it. You're right. Don't do the people with the best athletic ability direct their attention to soccer at an early age. That could make the difference.
That's the big question.
You don't need a LeBron James specifically. Yep. But the fact that a LeBron James type person could exist in soccer, what if we had, like, a Freddie Adu was the closest, and he didn't really turn out, right? So,
and why are we losing him? Why are we losing him to other sports? That's the question we got to answer as a federation, and start to pipe these players through soccer instead of losing them at age 9.
We're losing them because Claudio Reyna called up the coach and rather play over them. That's why we're losing them, because all the dads and moms are like, play my kid instead of playing LeBron James. So LeBron James goes and plays basketball, of course.
Yeah. That's. I think that's a perfect place to end this segment. Before I let you guys go, what are we watching this week? Anything from U.S. soccer, men's soccer perspective, obviously the women's have the She Believes Cup. I think everyone should watch that. But from a men's perspective, anything worth watching?
We had a bunch of players play this weekend. So I'm going to go back and analyze a bunch of those videos. Pepe, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Yunus Musa, the Senoras, Gio Reyna. There's a ton of players that put in minutes. I'd love to see what they're doing.
Okay. I think you should watch Patrick Mahomes and see if he ends up, because if he becomes eligible for the U.S. national team, then you could change the game a little bit.
I don't care about that.
I love it. All right, everyone, go enjoy the Super Bowl and watch the She Believes Cup. U.S. women playing at a high level. I think that's the go-to this week. And we will see you next week. See you guys later.